As mentioned in the previous chapter, in this chapter, we'll look at how to handle actions such as show dialog and navigator.push using ChangeNotifier's addListener. First, if we look at the pattern we are using for a moment, we first create a void callback to handle the action according to the state value. Next, in the initState method, register a void callback using the addListener of ChangeNotifier. However, the listener is not automatically disposed, so in the dispose method of stateful widget, use the remove listener of ChangeNotifier to remove the listener. However, I will try other methods before processing actions using addListener, and then show how to handle actions using addListener. One of the most common patterns in apps is the pattern of submitting a form to the server and moving to another page if the result is a success, and displaying an error dialog if it fails. The pattern of showing data after moving to another page in case of success, and showing an error when an error occurs is a typical example of showing appropriate actions according to state changes. First, I will briefly explain the app we will make. As you can see on the screen, the app consists of one text form field and one button. It is a very simple app that assumes a typing fail into the text form field is failure and all other inputs is success. A delay for 1 second using future.delayed function to simulate the situation of requesting data to the remote API when the user inputs into the text form field and press the button. It checks the value entered by the user, and if the input value is a fail, it is regarded as a failure. Otherwise, it is regarded as success and the state is changed. The state of the app can be divided into an initial state, a loading state that waits for the result after submitting, a success state where it is a successful submission, and an error state where it is an unsuccessful submission. To make the app simple, we do not manage data such as why the error occurred. I will create and manage these 4 types of state by creating an enum called appState. As mentioned above, appState enum has initial, loading, success, and error as members. Create the Provider Overview 17 app, install the provider in pubspec.yaml, comment out the include line of the analysis options.yaml file, and set it not to use the default lint rule. Let's start with the basic skeleton of the app already made. Because it is a simple app, I did not create a separate folder structure. The app consists of 3 files, main.dart, successpage.dart, and appprovider.dart. Successpage.dart is a screen that displays a success with a font size 48 in the middle of the screen. It is a screen that moves when the submitted input is not fail, that is, when it is a success. The appprovider.dart file defines an appState enum with 4 members, initial, loading, success, and error, and a currently empty appprovider ChangeNotifier class. In the main.dart file, since we are going to use the provider, I imported the provider package. And since we will also use the appprovider, I also imported the appprovider.dart. Success page is the page to go when it is a success, so I imported in advance. Wrap the material app with the appprovider type ChangeNotifier provider so that the appprovider instance can be used throughout the app. The title was modified to addListener of ChangeNotifier, and I hit the debug banner. My homepage is a stateful widget and it will handle form, so I declared the form state type global key variable form key, declared the auto-validate mode type auto-validate mode variable for form input validation, and gave auto-validate mode that disabled for the initial value. In this way, the validation of the form input is not performed until the form is submitted at least once. And I declared a string type nullable variable search term to store the input of the text form field. The submit function is currently an empty function. I gave a padding 30 so that the form elements do not stick to the left and right. And I have placed the form widget as a child of the padding widget. Give phone key as a key value of phone, and give auto-validate mode variable as the auto-validate mode value, and give list view as form's child. As you have seen before, even if the list view is placed in the center widget, if shrink wrap is the default value of false, the children of the list view will not be placed in the center. Set shrink wrap to true to center the children. The first child is text form field, and autofocus is set to true so that input is possible immediately after the screen is displayed. And give some decorations. Give outline input border to border so that the text form field displays the outline input border. And give search as label and icons.search as prefix icon. And set it so if the input value is null or only blank characters are entered, an error message saying search term is required is displayed. When the form is submitted, the input value is saved in search term. Give a size box of height 20.0, title of elevated button as get result, and in onPressed, assign the submit function. Now that we know the skeleton of the app, let's start the actual coding.